guys, Donnie RightSide here. Bookmakers review. The season is in the books for the NFL. The playoffs are here. But we can always take a small step back and realize what actually happened during the past 18 weeks. And did you become a better gambler because of it? And if you did make errors, how do you translate those over into the 2023 season? And heck, how about into the postseason right now? 5 lessons that you could have learned here during the 2022 season. Betting week 18 is absolute madness. Just take a look at some of the games that finished here. The Chargers. What the heck were you playing starters for? And why were you doing this? And you still lost that football game. The Dallas Cowboys. Let's get fresh. Let's play our starters. Let's get those good vibes going into the playoffs. A touchdown favorite over a Sam Howell-led Commanders team, and you got beat by 20 points in that game. How about the Texans, whose only job was to do what they were doing best of in the NFL, was losing football games. They come back in a miraculous fashion against the Colts and pick up an outright victory by 1 point. And also the Lions. If you thought that teams don't have pride, just check out the Lions. Dead and buried on Sunday Night Football to end the season with no chance to get in the playoffs. They played it as if it was the Super Bowl. So sometimes when you read the tea leaves early in the week in Week 18, sometimes those things certainly don't play out that way. Number 2. Shifting strategy during the season. What do I mean by that? We don't really know what football teams we have in the month of September. You can apply September over to October, November, and December, but also keep in mind from a betting strategy of taking totals and maybe taking prop bets. Your bodies in the NFL are much, much more fresh in the beginning of the season than they are at the end of the season. And also, when you're taking those prop bets and maybe you're a total backer and you like to bet overs, the weather, once again, much better in September and October than it is in November, December, and forward there. So certainly some things that you can look at. Also, betting advantages number 3, that may be a lesson you might have learned, riding hot teams and riding the team's cold streaks. What do we mean by that? By the end of the season, the Lions were absolutely red hot and you were getting value each and every week. Or teams like the Miami Dolphins that were crashing and burning late in the season. If you were fading those football teams that just couldn't get out of their own way, that was a lesson to be learned that next year, maybe you just start riding the hot hand or just fading really bad football teams as opposed to just buying low or selling high on those football teams. Also, if we're taking a look at some of these teams mid-season, buying on football teams, right? We just talked about if they're hot or cold. How about value during mid-season on taking a division winner? You looked at the Titans. My goodness, 7-3 on the season. They're going to walk away with the AFC South. But there were the Jacksonville Jaguars lying in wait with a big ticket that you certainly can take advantage of. If you look at the scheduling, which is different every single year, some teams have tougher schedules, or what appears to be tougher schedules in the first part of the season, easing up in the second half, and certainly if a key injury comes into play, you can capitalize on that. Also, how about this one? If we're taking a look, and we're going to keep on going here, number 5, no bet is a lock this season. Even if you're looking late in the year, right? Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for 1,000,000 yards against the Vegas Raiders in Week 18. Barely threw over 200, and they put up 30 points in that ball game. Also, Week 18, myself, Gus Edwards. Oh no, look at this. J.K. Dobbins is out. What an easy bet. Over 40 yards for Gus. 4 carries, 16 yards, and a concussion in the first half. Now, also, this leads over if we're taking a look at injury situations here, right? If you're looking at season-long prop bets, the NFL is tricky. Why? Because you're getting into 100 car crashes. It feels like every single weekend for you as a football player to play the full 17-game slate is tough. Sure, players do it, but what happens if a hamstring injury comes into play? We're a really good football player. Like Keenan Allen basically lost his entire season early on to a hamstring injury. Maybe looking at some of those unders because it is built in the NFL. Injuries do happen, and if a player gets injured, you're actually going to cash in that bet. Some things to look at from the 2022 NFL season as you can roll it over into 2023. I'm Donnie RightSide for Bookmakers Review, and as always, good luck on those wagers.